Welcome to a new season. We're here in the beautiful Commonwealth of Kentucky, which is known for its bluegrass music, fried chicken, and bourbon. But more than anything, Kentucky is a great place for sports, including Kentucky Wildcats basketball, the Kentucky Derby, and of course the world-class NASCAR IndyCar auto racing in this wonderful Kentucky Speedway. And as today we're in virtual Sparta, Kentucky, at the Kentucky Speedway for the season opening Bonfire Premier Cup race, brought to you by CavOK Racing Network. My name is Pim Lutz, and I'm joined today by my co-commentator Peter Lee. Peter, welcome.
It's great to be here, Pim. And, in addition to all of those things you mentioned, you can't forget Louisville Slugger bats. I remember playing with those when I was a kid in Little League. And it's just a great place to be, and really looking forward to this race today.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. It's nice that we're here at race one. We did fill in one time last season, but I think they like this because we're actually coming back for a whole season this time.
There's such incredible competition. These are people, racing in the top tier cars in oval track racing at really some of the best tracks. And I think it's something that we learned a lot last season when we filled in. And I think we're both looking forward to having a lot of fun watching this season.
Oh yeah, I do hope that we're going to get some experts in the booth. God, we already discussed that because we do want to learn a lot more, and we'll probably have to do some digging around. But for now, this first race, I'm just really looking forward. The track looks awesome. I think night is coming in, so it's a beautiful sky up here in Kentucky. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Do we know anything from last season?
Well, I think you have to really keep an eye out for last season's champion, Chris Smorrell, and he's a part of Team FOCM, which includes Brandon Shelton, Sean Cheeseman, David Medina, and Chris Smorrell. They are a team to watch, and Chris Smorrell is a driver to watch. But I think overall, what we're going to see, I think, is an even closer competition than the league saw last year. People. There's just a lot of carryover of the drivers. All the drivers are improving. This is a track that I think is a great place to start. We did some reconnaissance laps yesterday. 200 laps in these NASCAR Cup cars around this 1.5 mile tri-oval. I found that needed huge amount of finesse and patience to really take care of the car. You can try to go aggressive, particularly in turns 3 and 4, but it was pretty clear that would really be hard on the tires. And so, with cars having only 4 sets of tires to work with, in addition to the set they're starting on, everyone will have to be very strategic in this race today.
Yeah, I'm really curious. The thing that I've learned last time was really tires. So we know that they're gonna have 4 sets of tires for this race, and 200 laps. That's a lot for 4 tires. I'm very curious what this pit stop strategies will be.
Well, and in addition to that, fuel is limited, and so we think that they'll be able to run about 45, 46 laps. Maybe they can stretch that out to 50 if they're drafting. But they're going to be, having to be a little bit strategic and maybe a little bit lucky with where the full course yellows fall in order to minimize their times in the pit lane.
Yeah, we see that they are lining up in the pit. I always love that from ovals, that they really have those nice lanes, and they're all waiting to get ready.
Yeah, you have to love that view with the lights on, full crowd in the grandstands. Yeah, and cars getting lined up ready to enter the track.
Yeah, and they're beautiful liveries. We will have a look at them while we're racing, because I think it's very nicely done. People have done a lot of effort on these, and they look awesome.
I'm looking at the qualification times, Pim, and it's looking pretty close. The top 10 or 15 are all covered by less than a second, with Kevin Bullock on the pole, having qualified at 30.27 seconds.
Yeah, you can tell me a lot about that. I have no clue, but we did some ovals, and for me personally, it's not really important. Those qualifications is way important to what you do in racecraft on these tracks.
Absolutely, especially in a 200 lap race, it's absolutely not where you start; it's where you finish. In fact, we do see that Team FOCM. Brandon Shelton, Sean Cheeseman, David Medina, Chris Smorrell, they did not even set qualifying times.
Oh wow! So it's that bad. It's not necessary. Well, I see them going off right now.
You have to love the sound of those cars when they're doing that. That is great.
Yeah. I don't see much tire warming. I don't think that's really necessary also.
No, in fact, of course, I'm such a newbie when it comes to oval track racing, but when I was doing a lapping session yesterday, I really felt that you had to be a little bit careful. You could be turning laps in the low 30-second range, but it was not keeping the tires at all quiet, particularly in turns 3 and 4. And then, in fact, in a race session, you could really get a good run coming out of turn 4 on the low side and take up a few positions, but it looked and felt like it was really going to take down your tires. And so I think what we're going to see probably is people just trying to stay in packs, really baby their tires, particularly in turns 3 and 4.
All right, Peter. Peter, the car is in, so I think the lights are coming off here right now. And we're going to have our first start here of the official Season 5 for the Bonfire Cup. Look at this. They're all getting away quite nicely.
Looks like Kevin Bullock got off to a good start. Ryan Twainham seems to have picked up a position there, and Clayton Ham has gone up 2 positions.
Yeah, the pack is very close together. You do see in the front already immediately starting one line.
Now here's where they're coming around, in the back straight now into turns 3 and 4. And what will be really interesting is just to see what kinds of lines people are taking. It did seem to me that the higher line felt a little bit easier on the tires, but the low line was faster. And so I am suspecting that we're going to see those 2 lines around turn 3 and 4 start to develop.
Yeah, we do see that Twinham already takes quite a bit of a lead up here. I think that's an amazing part. So quickly, he doesn't really look at the rest. He's just going ahead already.
And you'll start to see, I believe, when things really start to get into the end game of this race, some good runs coming out of turn 4.
I think it would be good if we see the track map, because we can clearly see it's all one big pack up here.
Pim, can I just give you a real shout out for this amazing camera work? I think you're showing some amazing camera shots already in this broadcast. I'm really blown away by the work you're doing on this.
Well, if they dive this well, then we need to show them the correct thing. So thank you for that.
And so it does look like the field has pretty well settled in, with Ryan Twynham, Kevin Bullock, Clayton Ham, Sean Jensick, and Nathan Moore having formed the lead pack of 5. A little bit further back, we have Cody Dorsey, Doug Neal, and Dennis Puckett, followed by Joshua Miller and Justin Gann, and that is your top 10 at the moment.
Yeah, we're currently looking with Sean Cheeseman up here. He is in that close pack. I definitely can see that he's looking a little bit what the number 2 Brian Shelton doing is right in front of him. Learning from those lines, staying a little bit on the outside. We do see that Joshua
in the
Miller
middle of a pack, right? That's being led by Justin Gann in P9. So there's the lead pack of 8, and then the second pack, starting at P9, led by Justin Gann and Gary Wright. Meanwhile, Ryan Twynham is continuing to pull away here. And, the thing I'm really curious about, and I think part of the art of this form of oval track racing, Tim, which is something that, you and I being road racers, we don't really fully grasp this, is just, how these guys manage their tires and fuel through these long races. And so I'm just very curious with Ryan. He's pulling some fast laps already in the mid 30-second range. It'll be just very interesting just to see how this plays out.
Yeah, and then you see that the 2 persons behind, Clayton Ham and Sean Jensick, are really looking what to do, trying to follow him or waiting for the next pack to come up. The number 62 car, Kevin Bullock, he's really taking a different line than everybody else, staying on that inside. Is that going to cost you more on tires, or is that not a benefit up here?
Yeah, it's it felt to me, like I was getting just a tiny bit more scrub in turns 3 and 4 in that low line, but you definitely got a better run out of turn 4 in that low line, and I'm eager just to watch these guys and learn from them on how they're going to manage, basically the tension between getting that good run. Turn 4 and taking care of the tires.
And we're driving along with Kevin, where you can clearly see that he takes that more inside line, although he is following Cody Dorsey right now. But here he takes that different line, comes really close inside. It's interesting to see what Kevin is going to do on his lap. Or at least on his pit stops.
So the fuel limitations should give each of these drivers about 45 laps. We were talking to Chris Smorrell earlier, Pim, and Chris was figuring that if things stay green, and you're able to draft more, you might be able to stretch it out, maybe even as far as 50 laps. And so, this is a track that you do have to lift a lot going into turns 1 and 3. And so I think it's a little bit safer. We may not see as many yellows as we've seen in some of the other tracks that these guys race on.
Now, and while you're talking about Chris Smorrell, you can clearly see that he's gaining on Gary Wright and Robert Smith. So he's walking a little bit away, and he's really trying to get attention from Justin Gann on that back over there. Really cool to see.
Yeah, Chris Smorrell is up 9 spots, running P10 right now.
I'm wondering why doesn't he has the livery of FOCM?
That's a good question.
I'm not sure if his sponsor is going to be too happy about that one, but yeah, currently position-wise he does really well, not setting a time, and already here on this 10th position.
A little bit further back in the field, we have another third pack that's formed, starting in P17 with John Hopley, and he's being followed by Joshua Miller, Thomas Fox, and Derek Jacobs. And they seem to be working pretty well together back starting in P17.
Yeah, while you say that, the number 41 car, Joshua Miller, is trying to get on front of that pack, pushing a little bit harder. Tommy Fox right behind them. I think it would be good if they are now really working together.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that that's happening right now. You see Joshua Miller going for that inside line. I think he's actually going to take him right here. Tommy Fox immediately following on that inside line as well. And that means that Hopefully needs to stay outside.
Yeah, right. It'll be interesting to see what they do now here coming into turn 3. And so here you can see that low line coming turn 3. Again, it felt like you get a little tire scrub, but you can see the kind of run that you're able to get, although he might not hold it here coming out onto the front straight.
No, so is this a little bit of a leapfrog that they're doing? Or are they really fighting for position?
Wow, it does not look to me like they're working together. It looks like they're racing.
Yeah. John Hopeley and Joshua are now running away a little bit. Let's have a quick look in the front of the pack, because I do see that Ryan Trinham has been caught up. And right on his tail we have Sean Jensink and Nate Moore right behind them.
Yeah, and not too far back is Kevin Bullock and Clayton Ham, and so that top 5 group is trying to pull, I think, a little bit of a gap to P6 and Cody Dorsey. You can see, these drivers are choosing different lines, and it does look like 2 different lines are forming. Sort of a medium-high line and a low line. You know, Pim, the other thing I think that we both have learned about a track like this is on your equipment, if you have a good force feedback wheel on your sim rig, you want that good feel, but it can be pretty hard on the hands and wrists and arms, and so at least for me, I end up turning down the force feedback level on my wheelbase when I'm on a track like this in these cars.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm quite easy on that one, because it's here you know the track pretty well. You don't need the force feedback, but you do need to make sure you can actually finish the race with 200 laps.
Yep.
We're driving along with Cody Dorsey, looking at that pack with Clayton, Sean and Kevin right up front over there. I think Cody is just looking, I think he might suspect that there's something happening over there, because you really see him giving himself the chance. If there's happening something up front, he can still react to that.
Yep, he's seems to be just maintaining about a 1.8 second gap up to Clayton Ham. Meanwhile, 2 places behind Cody Dorsey is Chris Smorrell, who is now up 11 spots, now running in P8.
Yeah, he's right behind Justin Gann.
You know, one thing we're starting to see here is we are seeing already in this first stint a pretty long green flag run. And we're, 24 laps in? So, maybe about halfway through their first fuel load here.
That's great to see that whole pack over there.
Boy, up
Chris,
front, Nathan Moore and Ryan Twynham are just running side by side right up front there. And, Kevin Bullock is just on the hunt right behind him in the 21 car. Or Sean Jensek in the 21 car.
it's awesome to see how close Sean is coming onto his back over there. He's getting a little bit of a better exit on that line.
Oh man, Tim, I have to say your drone camera flying is superb.
Yeah, the drone has sometimes some difficulties on this track. I think it has to do with the Wi-Fi system, but so far it's running nice.
Yeah, that is. I almost forget to be a commentator here. I'm just watching.
All right, and we do see a little. Yes, we do see a little bit more fighting here for position number 2 and 3.
Yep.
See, Ryan has dropped back a little bit, and Kevin and Nate are taking over.
Yeah, and you can see the lap speeds dropping off. In the early laps, this top pack of let's call it 6 now, because I think Cody Dorsey has pretty much caught up to them. They were running in the mid 30-second range, and now they've dropped down into the 32-second range. And so, we are going to see probably more struggles here, not only because they're fighting, but just as their tires start to go.
Yeah, that's going to be a big struggle, and to see how that actually works. We're driving along here with Cody, looking for Clayton Ham. He's getting really close, and he does take always a little bit of a different line. You can clearly see that now. He comes to that inside, but he's not close enough to really stay over there. Oh, nice. Clayton gives him space over there.
Yeah, I definitely like that lower line in the turn 3 and 4 that Cody's taking, but at least in my reconnaissance laps, that higher line that Clayton Ham was taking definitely kept the tires quieter.
Yeah, and that's also the difficulty in these races, that you're really, it's not just this lap, it's really you have to maintain for the whole 200 laps.
That's right.
And then of course you have your yellow flags, your incidents that suddenly can happen always on this track.
Well, it is now starting to bunch up here at the front. We have this lead pack of 6 with Nathan Moore, Kevin Bullock, Ryan Twynham, Sean Jensen, Clayton Ham, and Cody Dorsey. But they are being caught up now by the next 3. Justin Gann, who's up 6 spots from the start, Chris Moore, who's up 11, and Dennis Puckett. And so that top 9, they are starting to get bunched up. And meanwhile, we do have some takers in the pits. We have Derek Jacobs and John Hopley now in the pits.
Oh, that is already quite early. Not sure if we expected that.
Yeah, we're 32 laps in, and this actually is in the open fuel window, but I'll bet that they're looking more for their first fresh set of tires than anything else.
Yeah, we saw that he took 4 tires, and we also saw that he had a little bit of damage, so maybe that was one of the big parts.
Yep.
And now he's coming back on to the track. It's got to be difficult with those high-speed cars over there. But that means we can see more pit strategies up here.
Absolutely. and they are our first 2 takers, and we're at lap 34. So we may see some more coming in over the next 10 laps or so. Meanwhile, the lap speeds are continuing to lengthen here, and so really the top 10 drivers are now in the mid 32 second range. Looks like Nathan Moore and Kevin Bullock right up the front are starting to try to pull away a little bit from Ryan Twynham.
Yeah, they definitely should. With the 4 of them, should at least work together to get rid of all the others. We see in the back 3 wide now, and it's Justin Gann who actually takes that 3 wide on the inside line. Really nice to see. Immediately Cody right behind him, and Cody takes that inside line. Wow, 4 wide right now. Chris Small is also there. Oh, that was that was a contact, but they both made it quite nicely.
Yep.
Good to see that. And here we're driving along with Chris Smorrell. He's on the moment right behind Clayton Ham, and in front of them is Justin Gann. But I do see that Chris is getting a little bit more anxious. He wants to go up front on that back, and he gets really close up here. Takes that inside line, awesome to see. And he takes another spot. So up 13 positions right now.
Yeah, running in P6. Yeah, it's really interesting to see that pass, in turns 1 and 2 there. As I was doing my reconnaissance laps, I was really looking at turns 3 and 4 as the prime place there, and of course we're seeing Chris proving me wrong.
Well, we do see that Clayton Ham is not finished yet. He's really looking to see where that space is right now. Right behind there is Dennett Puckett as well. He's really already closing up as well. So that's going to be a nice fight over here.
Meanwhile, up front, does look like Nathan Moore, Kevin Bullock, Sean Jensek, and Ryan Twynham pulling out a bit of a gap of about 3 seconds on Justin Gann, Chris Smorrell, Clayton Ham, Dennis Puckett, and Cody Dorsey.
Yeah, so they did find each other, and we can clearly also see when Chris was going through the field that back was a little bit slower, and that's advantage for Nate, Kevin, and Sean right over here.
Absolutely.
But what about Ryan Twynham? He was really in the front in the beginning, pushing a lot, and now he's a little bit more in the back, waiting, I have the feeling.
So they've just completed lap 40, or they're on lap 40, and particularly this lead pack that's benefiting a little bit less from drafting. It'll be interesting to see when they start to pit, because it's looking more and more like these guys are going to have to pit under green. It looks like Gary Wright might have had an issue. He's in the pit lane now, so he may just be the third taker for fuel and tires.
Yeah, I'm curious if we're going to see those guys back, because they are going to immediately be a lap behind, same as John Hopley driving all the way on the back.
Yeah, along with Derek Jacobs.
So now we see Nate Moore, who is really taking that lead, and it's making quite some fast laps up here. Well, Ryan Twynham, one of my favorite drivers, is still riding there on the back. I don't think he's going to push it that much. Maybe he used his tires a little bit too much in the beginning of the race. But he's not fighting. We can't say that from Sean and Kevin Bullock, because they're really making it a nice fight over there.
Well, here we're seeing Kevin Bullock and Sean Jensic going side by side all the way into turn 1 here. Then they sort themselves out a little bit, with Kevin taking a little bit of a higher line.
Yeah, we're driving along here with Ryan Twinham. And he has the perfect view for this this fight.
All right, they're now on lap 45, and so they've got to be running pretty low on fuel here. Well, you just get the feeling, though, that right behind them, right behind Ryan, you have Justin Gann and Chris Smorrell, who are on the move, and not too far behind them is Clayton Ham and David Medina. David Medina is up 10 spots right now, running in P8.
Yeah, it's the funky cold Medina, as he is known for. It's fun to see him drive. I'm looking where he can, because he's in that pack with Chris Small right on the front over there. I do think that Chris needs to make some space right now. Needs to make his moves.
Well, I'm just wondering who's going to blink first in these lead packs. So it looks like Robert Smith had his pit stop, is coming out. He's running in P19. And if you just look at, say, this top 10, who's going to blink first on their refueling here? Oh, we do have the 97 car coming in.
Yeah, and we also saw that.
So he's the first one.
Exactly, we see Nate coming here onto the pit together
Kevin
with Kevin, Clayton, Dennis Puckett, and Doug Neal is in. So it's going to be very busy on this lap.
Yep. Nick Mills has just jumped in as well. Tom Fox.
Yeah, it's now getting full on here. And we also see that Chris Small is coming into the pit together with his teammate right behind him, Robbie Cheeseman.
Michael Shore.
Or Sean Cheeseman was that, yeah.
Yep, Cody Dorsey has also jumped in.
Wow, so it's now suddenly very busy over at the pit stop. But that gives an opportunity for the people who had a different strategy. And we do see also Ryan Twinman coming in.
So that is leaving Sean Jensic and David Medina at the front of the pack. But they're now running close to 50 laps on their fuel load. So you have to expect in the next lap or two that they're going to have to come in also for fuel.
Yeah, and then we just did a really nice shuffle where Ryan Twinman is coming back to the front. I'm going to bet on that. We see Sean coming into the pit, David Medina coming into the pit.
And that'll leave Robbie Cheeseman and Nick Mills as the last two drivers. And now we're seeing that they've just entered the pit lane. So we have the entire field now taking their first pit stops at about the 50 lap mark under green.
But what happened to that front pack? Because I do see that Nate is now taking quite a bit of distance from the other drivers. So would that be the strategy of taking tires, 2 or 4 tires?
It's a good question, and I wasn't watching Nate's pit stop, and so you have to think that he took tires, but you're right. He seems to have gained a big advantage coming out of the pits. He's now running, what, a good, let's see, a good couple seconds ahead of Kevin Bullock and Sean Jensen. Great pit stop there.
And let's drive along with Nate. The beautiful orange car. As a Dutch person, always my favorite. His sponsor is Simbox. Well, Simbox should be proud of him right now because they're doing he does an amazing job.
Well, what we're seeing is, this first round of pit stops under green has really spread the field out a little bit. It does look like Kevin Bulk is trying to catch back up. He's running about a second behind. And then Ryan Twenham is, another few seconds behind, along with Sean Jensik. And so that is your top four: Nate Moore, Kevin Bullock, Sean Jensik, and Ryan Twenham. Meanwhile, another person who has done well in this first round of pit stops is Chris Smorrell, who's now running all the way up in P5, up 14 spots from the start of the race. He's in the pack with Sean Cheeseman and Doug Neal.
Yeah, that's a nice little pack to work with, especially if you know that Sean Cheeseman is his teammate. So
Yes.
they're probably going to be on the radio together. But I do have to say that the distance between Chris Small and Ryan Twinham is still quite big.
Yeah, it's looking to me, let's see, yeah, about 3 seconds.
Yeah, on the straight he can see him right there, but that is quite a distance that Chris needs to attack to.
And then further back, there's a pack involving P8 and Justin Gann, along with Cody Dorsey, Brandon Shelton, Clayton Ham, and Robert Smith.
Yeah, that's a nice pack. If they could work together, they could really make some speed back up to those guys. But on the moment you see Cody really attacking Clayton Ham. Oh, and they're touching a little bit. But I think that was just clean enough. Although Clayton is losing also a spot now to Brandon Shelton.
Yeah, it's interesting coming out of turn 4, what we saw Cody trying to do there. I felt the same need to kind of dive down a little bit in order to get that good run out of turn 4. And of course, he ran out of room a little bit there to do that.
Well, I'm glad there's nothing major happening and that we can continue. I don't want to have the broadcast booth curse, but we're nearly 60 laps without a yellow. That's quite impressive.
Oh, Pim, why'd you have to say that?
All right, I want to have some action. I want to have some action going on. I'll be honest. We're now driving along here with Tommy Fox. Has a big gap of a big group in front of him with Nick Mills, Robbie Cheeseman, and Joshua Miller. They're not going for the points, but they are going for the fun over here. While we see the number 46 Nick Mills taking that inside line.
Yeah, Nick Mills, Robbie Cheeseman are having good runs right now. They're up 5 spots from the start. And this pack, is basically in P14. There's still 140 laps to go here, and anything can happen. They are definitely not out of it at all.
I love that number.
Front, Kevin Bullock is now running in the lead, along with Nathan Moore, and then just a little further back is Sean Jensick and Ryan Twynham.
Well, a little further back, that's nearly 2.5 seconds. I think that's quite a distance if you look at it where they were before the pit stops.
Yep. I guess the mindset of these drivers has to be that they could be running green for a long time, maybe even the entire race here, and so it's got to factor into the strategies that these guys are thinking about.
Oh yeah, for sure. And we do see that Chris is taking slowly our advice and has moved up a little bit and is definitely closer to Ryan Twynham right now. And here we're driving along with that group of Justin Gang, Doug Neal and Sean Cheeseman. Because that's then the second group that missed a little bit the jump from Chris and is now trying to get back over there.
Pim, one thing I think that's always kind of fascinating for us road racers is just realizing the amount of patience you need to have in this form of auto racing. That's a hard thing, I think, for you and me, isn't it? Just to stay patient.
Oh yeah, yeah. When you have that opportunity, especially in the races that we drive, you need to take it because you're not sure if there's another one coming. Up here, right. That's a different strategy. What I do really like, and I actually sometimes just jump in to stock cars. What I really like is the close racing. So that people can be so close with each other to make that draft really work. That's really impressive, and I like to do the same.
Yeah, it's super exciting, and it's just one of these things where also you want to take advantage of the full course yellows, but you have to. It's a little bit of a crapshoot. Whether they're going to happen at the right time or if they're going to happen at all, as we're seeing in this race. Yeah, while we're looking... Go ahead.
I think there's happening something with Chris Small because suddenly his gaining on Ryan Twynham has stopped and he really is losing quite a bit of time. It's now 7 seconds. We hardly can see them over here.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a different strategy coming up.
One thing I wonder about, and we saw this even in our own Formula V race, Lime Rock Park yesterday, Ken. You and I were racing in a league race, and Formula V is also kind of a draft car, even though it's a road car. But sometimes you do think about slowing down a little bit and trying to grab a draft partner. So when you're in a position that Chris Morrill is in, where you're kind of out on an island all by yourself, you wonder if he's looking for a draft partner and maybe trying to egg on Sean Cheeseman to catch up to him.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And while you're talking about them, we're looking at David Medina, who's taking up another spot and is really trying to gain some speed. But what you see over here is really, it's not you're not driving against the driver next to you. You're driving against the next train in front of you or behind you. Yeah. And they really need to start working together to really make those trains move. We see a couple of big trains going on. If we look at the front row, we see Nate Moore and Kevin Bullock. Are they working together or are they fighting? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. It does look like they're being pretty cooperative there, and they ought to be because Sean Jensick has really hunted them down and has really caught up to them.
It's nice to see here the number 21, Sean, is taking that inside line. Oh, awesome. That's a good one that he takes over there. But that also means that Nate can run away a little bit while they're fighting for that position number 2.
Back in P4, Ryan Twynham is in a similar position to Chris Smorrell, just a little bit out by himself. And to your earlier point, it does look like Chris Smorrell has backed himself up a little bit. And again, you have to wonder if there's some cooperation there, allowing Sean Cheeseman to catch up a bit.
Yeah, they are team members, so I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Love that new paint of Sean Cheeseman, the FOCM. I love it. Yeah, that black's coming.
What FOCM stands for? I guess it's what, Florida, Ontario. Can't remember what the C is. In Maryland, I know the M.
Of course. Well,
Connecticut, and Maryland.
Yeah, I hope that they're better in driving than coming up with team names. But for now, we're going with FOCM. And I do have to say that painting is really beautiful.
Yeah, that's a pretty beautiful paint job for sure.
And they are working together with Chris Small, who's taking that lead. And
just behind Chris and Sean, running up in P7 is Justin Gann, and he's in a pretty tight group with Brandon Shelton, David Medina, and Doug Neal.
Yeah, we're driving along with David Medina right over here. We see Brandon Shelton and his little piggy on the back. It's gonna make you happy as David driving over there, seeing that piggy coming closer and closer.
Man, this is a super clean race, don't you think, Pim?
Yeah, it's a really a different ball game than anything you see on the public races. So I love this this clean racing, where it's really all about the strategy and making sure you find your right teammate to play along with.
Meanwhile, back up front, we're seeing Nathan Moore and Sean Jensick continuing to pull away from the field, and they've picked up Kevin Bullock also now running in P3 right along with them.
Yeah, and I do think if you look at the cars, they're really more working together now, fighting a little bit less and just giving each other that draft, and that really helps. Because Twynham has lost that position and is now driving on number 4 with 4 seconds behind. And Chris is continuing to lose time, where it was 7 seconds earlier. We're now looking already to 8:30 up here, so he's taking a different tactic.
Robert Smith has gone into the pits. It does look like he's taking some tires.
Yeah, we do see that he has some damage, but we see him taking the tires. But I think he is in that same position as John Hopley, although we do see now that he's very long in the pit. So it seems that he's or they're fixing something or he's doing something else, but his car ain't moving anymore.
Yeah. It's. I wonder if he violated the pit speed limit.
Well, we can see that if he's coming back, but for the moment he's on that 21st position, still in that pit, and it's not going to take long before Derek Jacob is going to take over. And while we talk about that, we see that Kevin Bullock is forming a little. They have to pass I think a blue flagger over here. Yeah, that's Gary Wright.
John Hopley in the 99
right.
car that they went around. Yep.
So this is interesting. I'm curious if John Hopley can actually now run with them and make sure that it's a fourth pack running away from the rest.
Yeah.
And on the moment it looks like Twinham has some issues, Ryan Twinham, because he can't get up with that field. He's driving all alone by himself. Again, beautiful paint.
Looking back in P5, the pack there, which is being led by the 76 car, Sean Cheeseman. And, it's interesting to see, that's a close pack again. Sean Cheeseman, Justin Gann, Brandon Shelton, and Chris Morrill is now back down to P8, and followed by David Medina and Doug Neal.
Yeah, I think Chris realized that the group is not going to work with just the two of them, so they needed to have more people. And I do think they also have Sean Cheeseman in there, who's also their teammate. So that could definitely work out here to work as a team. We see Sean Cheeseman now taking that high line to let everybody pass. I remember this from cycling, where we always overtake each other to really speed up, and I think that's what they're doing right now.
Yep, it does look like it's pretty coordinated for sure. John Hopley has come into the pits.
Yeah, he's on a different race altogether.
Yeah.
And that could work out as one of the best strategies or one of the worst strategies.
Well, all these guys have got to be just assuming right now that they're going to have to be pitting for the rest of the race under green. So it really is just all about, if you're going to take 3 more fueling stops in this race, exactly where and when you want to do it.
I'm not sure, Peter. I definitely would still think there's at least one yellow. And that's why it's now so important, because if you can, under that yellow, can get new tires, that would be amazing. So I think they're all waiting. There's got to be one.
Well, it's been 84 laps, so it'll be pretty darn interesting to see how this plays out. I'm pretty surprised at just how well these guys are running. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, Peter, I don't think we should be amazed anymore. We saw the last race with Bonfire Racing League. Those guys knows how to drive safely, so we'll see how that continues. But for the moment, 85 laps on green. This is what you want to see. Just driving along, and we see Sean Cheeseman and Chris Small coming into the pit. I did expect that already, because Chris wasn't driving that fast anymore, and he's now going with his teammate into that pit. Let's see if he takes tires. Oh, nice pit stop over here. You can see that he takes new tires. Yep. He has also some damage on the outside. I think they are kissing the wall a little bit. Chris takes 4 tires together with Sean Cheeseman, and they will go out together. Nice teamwork over there.
And so, this is a little bit earlier in the pit window that they're coming in. So, they've got to be assuming that everyone's going to be pitting under green in order to do this.
Oh yeah, for sure. And we see here on the first position, Sean now taking this lead. Nate has to drop out a little bit and is on the outside. That means that Kevin can drive along with Sean to that second position. But I think the race has started. They're not working together on the moment. And that's good news for Twinham. Maybe Ryan can come back now. Because
Ryan is steadily kind of chipping away at the gap that he has to that top 3, and so if he probably just wants to keep making that progress while babying his tires as much as possible. And so just to recap, we have everyone who's had just one pit stop, and then we have Sean Cheeseman, Chris Smorrell, John Hopley, Robert Smith, and Derek Jacobs, who have had 2 pit stops each.
Yeah, we do see Chris now going up a little bit, but he will have to come at least to position 14, so that means 3 spots up if he's going for a lucky dog. So that's another thing that they're all calculating on, but on the moment no lucky dogs up here because we have green all the way. Let's have a quick look at Justin Gaughan and Brandon Shelton right behind him. They're going on that position number 6, 6 and 5, but it's quite a leap to Twickenham. Chris has gone out over there, so suddenly it's like a 6-second gap over here. And slowly Brandon Shilton and David Medina are coming back to Justin.
Yeah, I'm looking at the lap times, Pim, and Sean and Chris, with their fresh tires, are pulling laps again in the mid 30-second range, and so they'll be making up a couple seconds per lap while they're on their fresh tires.
Yeah, we just see on the chat that there's also some information that Kentucky Speedway is one of the roughest in the NASCAR. And I think we're experiencing that right now because people do have to take new tires to make sure that everything is working. But not for Sean Jensick, Nate Moore and Kevin Bullock, because they're just continuing to move along.
So we have Gary Wright that has taken his pit stop with tires, and then Clayton Hams now driving into his pit stall.
Yeah, and I do think if we look closely to his car that he did make some kisses to the wall, but he's taking 4 tires over here, a lot of fuel, and then gets his Mustang up and running again.
Thomas Fox also now in the pits.
All right, so we're now definitely going on to that second lap of a second stint of pit stops.
Yeah, and based on our calculations ahead of the race, Pim, when we were analyzing this is almost exactly the right time that these folks would be taking their second fueling stop.
All right, and we do expect Sean, Nate, and Kevin to go a little bit earlier than the rest, like last time.
Back on what you just called out on the chat, for sure, especially in turns 3 and 4, like I've said before, I could even feel the tire scrub in my wheelbase.
All right, well, while you're talking about that, Kevin Bullock has taken a different strategy as the first one of that lead pack to go in. So he's taking new tires. That means he's going to drop a little bit, and Sean and Nate are continuing their drive. And Ryan Twickenham is not coming closer. He's now 5.7 seconds by. Oh, I think Ryan is also going to go in.
Yeah, it looks like Cody Dorsey is in the pits. Nathan Moore has just jumped in. Joshua Miller.
So Sean,
it's going to be really interesting to see where Sean Cheeseman and Chris Smorrell end up after this second round of pit stops, since they pitted earlier and they're 10 laps in to their stint after their second stop.
Yeah, Sean is continuing to drive over here, but I also think that Ryan Twickenham is going to come in early because he is losing now some time.
Yep, Doug Neal's in. Looks like we've got Dennis Puckett, Michael Shore. We're approaching the halfway point of this race.
And we do see that Nate has lost his position to Chris Small and is now driving behind him. Would that mean that like an undercut over here really works?
It's really interesting, and it makes perfect sense, Pim, because you know in the kind of 12 laps that Chris was running with fresh tires, he was gaining about 2 seconds a lap, 1.5 to 2 seconds a lap. So that's classic undercut.
Yeah, and that means that somebody needs to warn Sean Jensic, because he's driving on that first position. And it looks like he's driving away, but that could really hurt him at the long run if this undercut is working.
He's driving away, but he's driving away with mid 32-second laps.
Yeah, and I know Ryan Twinham is continuing losing some time, so there got to be some strategy. Oh, and we do see Sean Jensic right now going into the pit. So that means that Ryan Twinham is also has to pit right over here. So he's going to immediately come in as well.
You know, Cody Dorsey's still stuck in the pits, and so I'm wondering again if there's an issue there. Maybe a pit speed violation. He's out now. I suspect he violated the pit speed limit. But he's back on track now.
Well, we do see Justin again now on the top. Is that Ford really superior to that Chevy? You can definitely see that up here. But also he goes into the pit, and together with Brandon Shelton and David Medina, the pure white car up here. And we also see Nick Mills coming in. So we're going to have a surprise over here with Robbie Cheeseman driving on that first position. After him is Nate coming back up to speed. And he did pass Chris already over there. We missed that spot, but we do see that Moore is back on his position. Behind him, right behind him, is Kevin Bullock. And Kevin Bullock is actually overtaking him right now. Oh, he's not, no. We see Robert Cheeseman going into the pits.
Into the pits, yep. And so now we're seeing Chris Morrill running up in P4 and Sean Cheeseman in P3. So that early pit stop has definitely worked out, but it's going to be now very interesting because they're about 10 laps out of sequence with the other lead guys.
Yeah, but he does have a really good part where he can work together with his teammate Sean Cheeseman. He's done that now the whole race, and you can clearly see that yeah, they're going to work together. Chris is getting towed by Sean Cheeseman right now.
And so now we do have the entire field having made at least 2 pit stops under green. Now, you know, the thing I'm wondering about, Pim, is the way these guys are running. You know, they're, especially if they're benefiting from the draft and if they baby their cars a little bit, some of these guys are getting around 50 laps on the fuel load. And so if it stays green like this, you know, it's not inconceivable that some of these lead guys might be able to get by with just 1 more stop instead of 2 more stops. And, you know, that'll be a pretty interesting thing to watch. You know, I think most of them are going to need 2 more stops, but you know, someone could really stretch it if they're careful.
So Peter, let's start a bet on this one. When do you think, or do you think, there's going to be a yellow in this race?
I think these guys have this track nailed. You know, they're being I think also, pretty careful. You're seeing the race pace, is more in the mid 31 to mid 32 second range. I think they're in their minds, they're all assuming it's going to go green all the way. So my money's on green all the way.
All right. Well, I'm definitely gonna think there's at least one yellow. I can't imagine that they can keep this up till the last lap. We see here Kevin Bullock right behind Nathan, trying to lap the number 27 car. So what happened to Sean Jensink? He was really close with Nate and Kevin, and after the pit stop we really lost him over there. He's fallen back quite a bit of time.
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm not sure. You're right, though. He's running about 8 seconds back after that second round of pit stops. And meanwhile, Sean Cheeseman running P4 and Chris Smorrell in P5 are continuing to work together. There's clearly some good teamwork going on there.
Yeah, I do have to say that's also, I like that. I like when they were working together. But are they really working together? Because on the moment we see that they both have a different line. Does that still mean that they can actually work together?
Well, if you ask me, Pim, that looks like a leapfrog right there.
All right. Yes. So now we're seeing a different action plan. Chris has waited for quite a bit of laps, and is now taking over to make sure that they continue their gaining on Sean Jensink, because it is 12 seconds, and as far as I can see, they're not getting closer. Jensink is really running away over there.
Pam, I'm watching also this trio running in P8 of Ryan Twynham, David Medina, and Clayton Ham, and trying to understand what they're doing here. They're also trading positions every couple laps or so, and they're looking pretty cooperative as well.
Yeah, I do see that the gaps between them are a little bit bigger. Clayton Ham should get a little bit closer to David Medina. And I think the same thing for David Medina. He sees Ryan Twynham. They're teammates. They should work together.
The lap times are slowing here. And, you have to wonder if some of these guys are just trying to save a little bit of fuel. I really think, especially for people who took the later pit stops, it is possible to finish the race with just one more pit stop if you're just really careful, really manage your fuel on track.
Well, that's going to be very interesting to see those things happening.
Well, meanwhile, up front, we're seeing Nathan Moore and Kevin Bullock continue to be running pretty close in P1 and P2, and they've got to be thinking also about fuel. They're about 20 laps in their stint since their last pit stop. I wouldn't think that they could make it to the end on one more pit stop, but Sean Jensink running behind them has a little better shot at it. He's only 14 laps into his stint after a second pit stop.
Yeah, but we do see that Sean Jensink is abusing his tires a little bit more. So that's also the play. He has better tires, but he's making a lot of ground up with Nathan Moore and Kevin Bullock.
Yeah.
It's now a
Yep.
6-second lead, and I will definitely see them now in 20 laps. Sean will come a lot closer. And the train of Chris Small and Cheeseman is not working on the moment, or at least they're not gaining. So they're going to have a different strategy.
Yeah, and they're 31 laps in now on their stint after their second pit stops, and so they're running about mid 32-second laps. They're going to have to be a little careful right now, and for sure they're going to need 2 more pit stops for fuel.
Yeah, so it's still all to play for. I do think it's important to be on the lead lap, and we only have 10 people right now on that lead lap. It will be actually Nick Mills when we get the yellow flag that would go for a lucky dog.
Yeah, Nick Mills is having a good run. He's up 9 spots, and if he gets the lucky dog, he'll be looking good for a top 10 finish or better.
I think that's also the best part, where you now see that fight with Joshua Miller, who's trying to come back to Nick Mills. Because if that happens, that can happen any moment. Then it's good to be on that position.
You see Chris Smorl going by there.
Yeah, he's taking a little bit of a gap of Cheeseman. I feel that the corporation has stopped a little bit, and Chris knows that he has to make that move, because he's now 16 seconds behind the lead group, and that's just too much. If you want to do something, you need to come back right now. So he will push his car a little more.
Well, right now he's running close to a second. He and Sean are running close to a second slower per lap than the lead pack of Nathan Moore, Kevin Bullock, and Sean Jensik. And I think that's just a reflection of that extra 15 laps or so on their tires.
I don't think Chris can do something right now. He's probably outthinking himself in the car right now, what he needs to do to make sure that his strategy works on this way.
With about 80 laps to go, it wouldn't be out of the question for Chris and Sean to again take an earlier pit stop. If they're betting on 2 pit stops anyway, this might be a good time. Really, any time between now and the next, say, 10 laps or so.
Yeah, well, while you were talking about that, we see Joshua Miller went into the pit as well. And he is waiting over there. It takes a long time. I think he's trying to fix his car as well.
Looks like he's rolling out now.
Chris has a whole pack behind him, though. Want to take advantage. And we see Sean Cheeseman falling back out of that group. He's not following Chris anymore. Chris has a bigger group to work with. And we see Justin Gang now really going to the front. I can't see the car number, but who's driving in front of Chris Small?
It's Robbie Cheeseman. And Robbie, yeah.
So is Robbie holding now? Did he went back so that he could help the team over there? Because there's a lot of team members in that pack. It's basically a team FOCM right over there. Is that now combining the forces against Nate Moore and Kevin Bullock, who drive an awesome race over here?
Well, Chris Morrill has just been passed down track again here by Ryan Twynham and Dave Medina. I think his it's looking to me like his tires are pretty shot. And he's definitely going to need 2 more stops anyway. I still expect Sean and Chris to be coming into the pits pretty soon.
And while we're talking about Small, Medina, and Twinham, we see that Jensink has really closed in that gap. It's now 4 seconds, and he keeps passing people left and right. He's flying over there, going on the outside line.
Yeah, I really like the situation that Sean's in right now. He took one of the later second pit stops. He's only 26 laps into his third stint here. He has a little bit of an advantage over the top 2 guys, Nathan Moore and Kevin Bullock, at least in terms of pit sequence.
Yeah, he's passing Robert Smith right over there. This will take a little bit more time for him to get closer to that first pack. And we see Chris Small coming into the pit. Right. Together with Sean Cheeseman. So they're going to do that strategy, exactly what you were saying. You see Sean Cheeseman changing his tires as well. But he's quicker out of the pit. He's already out of the pit, and Chris is still waiting over there.
There comes Chris.
Yeah, but he's missing out on his teammates, so I'm curious how that's going to work out, because he needs to work back to that pack. They had a really good pack working for them. Now, while we see that, we see still Nate Moore and Kevin Bullock driving along nicely. I'm curious how much advantage Kevin Bullock has right now. So driving in that back should give him quite a bit of advantage on at least fuel. I'm not sure. Does it also help in tires? Because they have to make the same speed.
Yeah, it's really interesting. In fact, if we get a chance to interview some of these guys, we'll have to ask. But I really felt like you had to just baby the car in turns 3 and 4 to save the tires. It just, really, it was just really, really hard.
So we do see Joshua Miller, who came out of the pit, is now actually unlapping himself, and he's taking that group up. It's great to see that Nate thinks, yeah, you can do this. I don't know if they're team members. And I think this is a good segue. We would love to have some oval experts here in the booth. So if you think you can do a better job, or that's not going to be that difficult, but you want to help us in doing this broadcast, then you're more than welcome. Please come to the Discord and join us. We're still learning this, but I have a lot of fun to see all these tactics running out.
Oh yeah, I mean the chess match that goes on here. It does look like Robert Smith has had his pit stop and he's coming out now. So he joins Cody Dorsey, Joshua Miller, Sean Cheeseman, Chris Smorrell as drivers who have taken their third pit stops and their third set of tires.
So Peter, if you could do an estimation or a guesstimation in this way, when do you think that Moore and Bullock will go in?
Yeah, I think around maybe 10 or 12 laps from now. And really the guy to watch here is Sean Jensen running P3. Because, if he's really careful, it's looking to me like Sean Jensen could just barely squeeze by with only one more stop for fuel. Looks like John Hopley has dived into the pits.
So that is his third pit stop already.
That's right. Yeah, so the way the fuel limitations have been set up, the normal run, at least in clear air, would require at least 4 stops for fuel. And but of course, if you're driving a little bit more conservatively, if you're benefiting from the draft, it would be just barely possible to get by with 3 stops for fuel. And that's exactly the situation that Sean Jensik is running in right now. Along with a few others, Justin Gann, David Medina. There are a number of these drivers. Ryan Twyman also, could get by with just one more stop for fuel if they're really careful. It looks like Thomas Fox has come in for fuel and tires. He's re-entering the track now.
So let's drive along with Kevin Bullock following Nate. He has seen this pretty much the whole race, or at least half the race, just following Nate. It's really taking that nearly same line.
Man, they are so smooth the way they're going right now. It's really kind of, just as a road racer, it's just pretty.
Oh yeah.
Just to see how smooth they are.
And here you can definitely see that Kevin is really anticipating not only the track, not only the corners, but also exactly where Nate is. He wants to keep that same distance from him, and enough to have the draft. Yeah, it's beautiful.
So, Nathan and Kevin are about 42 laps into their third stint. And, they've been running a lot in clear air, so I would expect within the next 5-6 laps or so, they're going to have to come in for their third fuel stop. And again, the folks to watch would be the group running in P3, 4, and 5, Sean Jensik, Justin Gann, David Medina. Again, if they're super careful, they might be able to stretch it out.
Yeah, we see we're driving along with David Medina, and he's really taking the same line as Justin Gann. Following along, exactly what you're saying. Babysit those tires and make sure that you come to the end.
Yep. Yeah, you have to think that all these guys are just trying to do those mental math calculations, trying to figure out.
Oh yeah, while you're driving, that's why I pay tools to actually do all those things. I can't do that thinking. It's amazing that how they do that.
Uh-huh.
But while we were looking in the back, we do see that Sean Jensink is going to the front, has a little bit stopped. He's back on that 4-second, so we're definitely going to see that his tires are also a little bit more shot. He needs to take care of them.
Well, he could also just be trying to conserve fuel here. He has a shot to get by with just one more fuel stop if he's careful. So Gary Wright is in the pits along with Clayton Ham. So Clayton Ham was interesting because, it's, he managed out 48 laps on his last fuel load. And so, yeah, man, I'm just on pins and needles here to watch. So it looks like Kevin Bullock is coming into the pits.
Yeah, we see him coming in. His car looks really nice compared to all the other ones. No damage. He didn't see that wall coming.
Yep.
He's going into that pit.
And Nathan Moore is going to have to come in, I think, within the next 2 to 4 laps at most. Probably next couple laps.
All right, Kevin just stopped his car. It wasn't a complete stop, so he had to I think he's going to lose a little bit of time on that. It's curious to see how much time he will win or lose from Nathan, but he's out of the pit. Getting up to speed immediately and going in there. So let's see what Nate is doing. Nate Moore all by himself right now. Is there an undercut up here? Yes, there. Well, at least Nate is covering himself. He's coming in. I think that's a smart move to do. Gives Sean Jensink finally that opportunity to run in the first position again.
Yes. And so what we're going to see here now, we want to watch really closely Sean Jensik, Justin Gann, Dave Medina. If they can stretch this out for another, say, 6-7 laps before they pit, I think they can finish the race without having to pit again.
We're driving along with Kevin Bullock because I want to see if he can actually gain on Nate.
But Dennis Puckett and Michael Shore have also come in for their third pit stop.
And look at this, Sean. We are past. Kevin is past Nate on the moment, but Nate still needs to get up to speed.
And Doug Neal's in the pits. And Doug Neal managed 49 laps on his fuel run there.
We can see that that undercut keeps working. Kevin definitely gained some time on Nate. I don't think it's enough to really run away, but at least he gave up a warning here for Nate.
Yep. Cody Dorsey's in the pit. So
yeah,
we're
to get him.
Sean Jensik has slowed down to high 33-second laps. I think he's really nursing his fuel around. I think he's trying to get another 3 laps out of his current load before coming in order to be able to finish the race in one stop.
Yeah, and then we have Sean Jensik, who's going to be really late in that anyway.
Yeah. So, Sean Jensik, Justin Gann, David Medina, and Ryan Twainham, they all have a shot at just making only one more stop if they're able to stretch this out for another 2-3 laps.
All right, I'm glad you called out Ryan Twainham because that's still my guy. His car is amazing to look at. And I hope that he comes back a little bit more, because if he could get together with Medina, I know that they're going to work together. So that will be an interesting to see something happening. But then Twinham needs to go a little bit quicker, because on the moment he's not gaining that much.
All these guys, Sean Jensik, Justin Gann, David Medina, Ryan Twainham, they've all slowed down to roughly 33-second laps. So there's no doubt in my mind now that they're nursing their fuel. They're trying to squeeze out at least 2 more laps before pitting, under the assumption that the rest of the race is going to go green. Looks like Sean Jensik has blinked and he's in the pits.
He's in the pits, so that's a good tip. And immediately David Medina goes in as well.
Yep.
So he's going to see if he can hang on to Sean. See Ryan Twainham going in as well. So this is the moment for them to have that last pit stop under green. And
so now, in order for those guys to finish the race without having to pit again, they're really going to have to be conservative. And I don't know if they can do it. We've seen some folks, Sean Jensik actually made 50 laps, on his last fuel run. There are 50 laps to go, but he's going to have to be awfully careful. Meanwhile, everyone else on track is really going to have to make another stop.
He has lost Justin Gann now into the pit, so he gave up that first position to do this pit stop. Can you tell us a little?
Justin again made 50 laps on his last fuel run. He has 49 laps to go. It's again, if they're really careful, they all have an advantage here. They can get by if it stays green.
So what are your thoughts about Chris Small? He has a different strategy. Does he need to go in one more time at least?
Yeah, he will. He's actually, about halfway through his fuel run right now. So over the next, say, about 20 laps from now, I think he's going to have to come in for a final pit stop.
We see Robbie Cheeseman going in. But Chris is missing his teammate Sean Cheeseman, who's also running pretty much by himself. I see Sean Jensik right behind him, or a little bit behind him on that part. And we also see that Nate has come back. Nate Moore is right behind Kevin, and they're all in traffic. This is interesting to see, because they need to pass, but they also need to do that together.
Yeah, something is wrong with Kevin Bullock here.
There's a caution. Sure. There is a caution. That was the fact.
Yep.
We see Gary Wright has crashed. We missed a big crash. Let's have a quick look if we can see what happened over there. So Gary Wright was driving his normal lines. Oh, and made a slip. Oh, and we see number 57 hitting him as well. Not many cars were involved in that, so we see only Tommy Fox also being hit on that part.
Well, this is huge, because now really everyone can come in for what ought to be their final pit stops, and assuming the rest of the race stays green, everyone will have enough fuel to make it to the end. And this is really kind of interesting now for Sean Jensik, Justin Gann, David Medina, Ryan Twinham. They're gonna have to decide what to do. They just come in. They're only 3 or 4 laps into their stop, but they would have to have nursed their fuel to get to the end, so they may also be coming in. And we might see everyone coming in, and it does look now like everyone's coming into the pits. Kevin Bullock, Nathan Moore, Chris Morrill, Justin Gann, David Medina, Sean Cheeseman. Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking. Is it correct that Sean Jensink didn't go into the pit and he's now actually up front?
Yes. And that's an interesting choice there, because really he was in a position where he could be conservative and finish the race with another pit stop, but it's a kind of interesting choice. He still might want to come in here just to make sure that he has the fuel to get to the end. Really, for Sean, this yellow couldn't have come at a worse time, because he was really on a strategy of not having to pit again.
Yeah, so he's going to be very upset about this part. There's a lot of cars in front of him, so they will cycle a little bit further to make sure that all the back markers are in the right position. But on the moment, it doesn't look like Sean is going to go in.
Yeah.
He's going to continue. See some more cars going into the pit. Michael Shore, Dennett Puckett, Clayton Ham goes for another time.
Yeah, and so the real question are for the folks like Ryan Twinham, Nick Mills, Robbie Cheeseman, Brandon Shelton. These folks had just come in under green a little bit earlier for their third stops, and looks like they're staying out.
Yeah, either it's a really great tactic or it's a horrible one. But Sean Jensink has another set of tires, and that can be a lot of benefit if there is another yellow.
Yes.
Just saying, like if
yeah,
and he's
I
one
think
of the
you're
few.
absolutely right, Tim. He's got to be praying for another yellow coming up at some
Yes,
point.
the same as Ryan Twinham, Doc Neal.
Yep.
Also only did a couple of pit stops, so he has 3 pit stops. So he definitely has some tires left.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I think you've nailed it there, Pim. And by the way, I think you've won the bet with me also about whether there would be a.
I think our viewers are gonna laugh if they're gonna hear that we're not in yellow. Of course, they're gonna be a yellow, but it was a slight accident. It was actually nearly he could save that car, but too bad he couldn't anymore.
Yeah.
We see that John Hopley has also done another pit stop.
Yep. Robert Smith is in the pit lane now. Yeah, the other thought process for Sean Jensik is that, they're getting to do these laps, under yellow, burning a lot less fuel. So, he might be also thinking that he doesn't have to be as conservative with his fuel once they go green. And so, it's just, again, really, really interesting. He might not be in as bad shape as we were thinking.
Now I'm curious how we're going to start right now. I do see Chris Small on position number 7, but there are a lot of cars in front of him. Are they going to work that out, or is that just going to be how we're going to see the laps going along?
Yeah, we'll see how this play out. So it looks like the pace car's coming in. And so we've got 43 laps remaining, assuming they go green here.
He goes really late. Sean is going really late, and the whole track is gone. Justin Gann on that outside.
And so Sean basically had, 6-7 laps under yellow there. He might be okay on fuel.
Yeah, but everybody has new tires. You can't deny that part.
Yeah.
And we immediately see Sean has to go back to the second position, while Justin Gann takes that lead. Fresh tires, baby. And look at that, on third position, they're going 3 wide. Nate, Mower, David, Medina, and Kevin. And Nate is the winner out of that.
We're seeing John Hopley making a move, and Chris Morrill as well.
Yeah, that's a nice pack over here. Look at that. The number over there, the inside, it is number 25, Ham, Clayton Ham. He's really charging up to the front.
Yeah, yep.
So we do see Cheeseman, Sean Cheeseman, David Medina, and Chris Small right behind each other. So that could be a nice, really team train that they're trying to make over here. And we see that Nate is also coming back up to the front, really gaining again that first position. He wants to have that, but needs to pass Justin Gann to also make that happen.
Yeah, Sean Jensik is holding his own in P3, and then followed by Kevin Bullock, David Medina, and Sean Cheeseman.
Yeah, but Kevin also wants to pass Sean over here. And we see Joshua Miller coming in again. I'm not sure what there happens over there. I don't want to leave this field over here, but I do see him coming into the pit. And you see immediately 3 trains forming up. You see that first group.
Yeah, Joshua Miller again was really way out of sequence, and so this is his 4th stop, and he needed this in order to come in, and so for some reason he couldn't come in under yellow, and he should be good to go for the rest of the race now.
All right, let's make sure that we keep in touch with the second pack, the small pack. Let's call them for now the Chris Small pack, because they're already losing quite a bit of time.
Yeah, and Chris Morrill followed by Clayton Ham. And there's Brandon Shelton back there. Yep.
Yeah, and I don't see that that group is really working together. It's the big spread out.
Yep.
And they actually get the chance to for Ryan Twinham to also come back, and maybe that's the deal. We see Doug Neal right coming in right now. I think it's a very awkward position just after that yellow. Not sure why they didn't pit earlier, but that's gonna hurt really, really bad for Doug to go in right now.
Right. Meanwhile, we are seeing this lead pack of pretty much 4 cars: Justin Gann, Nathan Moore, Sean Jensen, Kevin Bullock. Is pulling out a bigger lead on the next 2 of David Medina and Sean Cheeseman. Chris Morrill on the hunt, trying to catch up to them.
Yeah, and I do think that team FOCM has put Sean in the front, because he's really charging now, trying to see if he can close that gap. And it does seem that that he can do that. I hope also Chris can take that leap.
Well, Chris is closing the gap, and he's running some pretty fast laps right now, pretty much around 31 seconds flat, so he's definitely working hard to catch up here. But this lead pack of 4 with Justin Gann, Nathan Moore, Sean Jensen, Kevin Bullock, they are really working well together. It looks like they're all being patient and maybe just waiting for the final laps to come. There's 32 laps to go, so there's still plenty of time here in the race.
Yeah, there's plenty of time. We're driving along with Chris Small, and we see that there's not much behind him, so he really needs to look forward to Sean Cheeseman and make sure that they come up with their teammate David Medina.
Yeah, Chris is caught up, and he's just half a second behind Sean Cheeseman at this point.
And we know that Nate Moore, Sean Jensic and Kevin Bullock are driving a Chevy, but on the moment the Ford is superior to the Chevy, because Justin Can is right in front of them, and he's leading this whole pack. We see while we're looking is that Chris Small has overtaking that position from Sean Cheeseman.
Yep, and David Medina has caught up to the lead pack, so now that's a lead pack of 5.
Yeah, and David Medina is just gonna wait till Chris Small is attached over there as well, because then it's really the FOCM team against the rest. But on the moment, Justin Gang and Nate Moore are running their times. It's nice to see that Sean Jensic with those old tires is also keeping up.
Yeah, I think Sean's tires are probably okay, because remember they had, I think, 7 laps under yellow, and so he was able to nurse those things. He's not that far off of the other guys, and I'm guessing his fuel is good too.
Now let's drive along with Ryan Twinham. My favorite is losing a little bit time on Clayton Ham, and really needs to work to make sure that Brandon Shelton and Nick Mills are not passing him on up here. They have a different line.
Yeah, I think they're dealing with a little bit of traffic, and that's probably kind of slowing him down a little bit. But looks like he's doing all right there.
So how's that front pack doing? We see David Medina up here on the back of Kevin Bullock and Sean Jensink.
Yeah, this lead pack of 5, they're being very orderly right now. I think they're just all biding their time. 26 laps to go. And Chris Morrill, Sean Cheeseman, back in P6 and P7 have stalled out a little bit. They don't seem to be making much progress catching up to that lead pack.
Now we do see that Sean Jensink is losing one position on Kevin Bullock, and I think he's also going to lose one on David. So do we see here a little bit of tire wear coming up?
Well, it's interesting. There's they're all about halfway through their stints. Of course, with only 25 laps to go. They're all going to have to kind of make their own calculations about when to make the moves, because you want some tire left for the end of the race here. So, Sean could just be trying to be just a little bit careful here and nurse his tires a little bit so that he has something for the end of the race.
Yeah, and while we look at that, we see Kevin making a move on Nate Maurer. And he's taking that second position. So it's fun to see that they're not just working together. They're really at least finding a little bit over here, which gives a big opportunity for that second group to come by. When we look at the track map, we clearly see that first group now coming over the finish line. And then we see Chris on his own, Sean Cheeseman and Clayton Ham right behind him. And a little bit further there is Ryan Twinham.
Then behind them, we have Brandon Shelton and Nick Mills. And they're interesting. Brandon Shelton in the lucky dog position. And on the other hand, you gotta assume that we're gonna finish under green here.
again, our audience is just laughing about us. I'm not sure. I hope it's gonna be, because we have seen such an awesome, clean race. No big crashes. One little slide, and that's about it. But we do see up here that on the moment, if we look at the times. The Jensink is losing a little bit of gap over here. So I think it's time for David Medina to go by. He needs to make sure that he follows Justin Gann, Nate Maurer and Kevin Bullock. I have a feeling that it's not working out for Sean.
So just to recap where we're sitting right now with 20 laps to go, we have Justin Gann, Nathan Moore, Kevin Bullock, Sean Jensink, David Medina in our top 5. Then we have after them Chris Morrill, Sean Cheeseman, Clayton Ham, Ryan Twinham, and Brandon Shelton rounding out the top 10 with Brandon a lap down. Below them, Nick Mills, Robbie Cheeseman, Doug Neal, Michael Short, Cody Dorsey. That's your top 15. And the Cody Dorsey, Dennis Puckett have had really interesting races, and even though they're finding themselves 3 laps down, they've been very interesting, a little bit out of sequence on their pit strategies. Of course, everything got resynced with that yellow, but it was interesting just to see all these different strategies playing out.
No, definitely. And you see now the strategy of Team Chevy right over here. This whole pack trying to run down Justin Gann in his Ford, solid on the first position. And you can see that he's now really driving a little bit away.
Well, I'm just looking at the lap times that they're running, and Justin Gann's running a good 0.3 of a second faster per lap right now than the pack of Kevin Bullock, Nathan Moore, Sean Jensen, David Medina.
Well, you can clearly see that gap starting to get bigger and bigger. And then you have to think what David Medina is thinking about this, because he's driving on that last position. He was taking it a little bit easy.
Yep.
But are you going to do that right now?
Yeah, well, just as you were suggesting, David has got around Jensen.
Yeah, but I think he needs to push more. I think they really need to start making way to Gann.
Yeah.
Let's drive along with Chris Morrill on position number 6. Because he has quite a gap to Sean. I think now we can really see what those tires are going to do. Is Chris coming back to that pack?
Yeah, well, he's got his teammate Brandon Shelton now with him. Of course, Brandon's running a lap down, but that could be still helpful for Chris if he can work together with his teammate.
Well, the way he was passing, I definitely think that was working together.
Yep.
So now Chris needs to look at that piggy and make sure that he's following him right along. Maybe he can help him to come back to that pack.
Meanwhile, back up front, we're now starting to see Kevin Bullock also now starting to separate himself from the pack a little bit. And so we have Justin Gann, and then more than a second back, Kevin Bullock, and then another full second back to Nathan Moore, David Medina, and Sean Jensen.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. I think David Medina is now also pressuring Nate Moore a little bit. And he needs to do that, because otherwise you're going to lose now also Kevin Bullock. And Kevin is really making his way back to Justin. You see David Medina is constantly looking on that inside of Nate Moore. It's got to be frustrating. He has Sean Jensen right in his back. So that would help him as well. I mean, he is on the inside right now. He is on the inside.
Yep.
Nate is backing out of this one. Or is he? He's not yet. But David can hold that inside line quite strong over there. But I think this is a big difference, Peter. We see these three at least not working together, but at least making a lot of time with draft. And then you see Chris Small behind them, all alone. Needs to work his way. Has his only his teammate at least that he can work around with, but that will be a little bit frustrating.
Looks like we have Robbie Cheeseman in the pits, and along with Robert Smith. So again, these were some of the folks who were very out of sequence and didn't come in during that yellow. We are coming up now on about 10 laps to go.
Yeah, if you have to make your pit stop right now, you're in deep trouble. I don't think that's the case with Justin, because it feels a little bit like he's maintaining his speed with Bullock, but also make sure that his tires are okay.
Yep. David Medina has now separated himself a little bit from Sean Jensick and Nathan Moore. So he's got himself into P3. Meanwhile, Justin Gann up front is just serenely running his 32-second laps.
Yeah, I don't think he even looks at behind. He's just making that nice way on his track. Just needs to focus. Curious how his heart rate is on the moment, because this is a big opportunity to immediately take that lead in the championship. Awesome to see him go this way. All right, we see Cody Dorsey also going into the pit.
Yep.
So that's really bad luck for them. They were expecting another yellow, and that was not happening right now. And we do see that David Medina has finally broken off with Sean Jensick and is a little bit further ahead. And Nate Mower, he's behind Jensick. What happened over there? I think he's really feeling those tires.
Well, I think there's after this time around, there's 7 laps to go, and so we're in the end game of this race, and I think we're starting to see that there's no need at this point for any cooperation. It's every man for himself.
Yeah, every man for themselves, and then you see Kevin Bullock trying to gain some speed on Justin Gann, but that's difficult. Gann is managing his life really well, and does this mean, Peter, that this is the fight Justin Gann against Gavin Bullock? Do you think David is gonna come any closer?
Right now, he's actually losing a little bit of time, David Medina, to both Justin Gann and Kevin Bullock, and so I think his race is basically with Sean Jensick for that final podium spot.
Yeah, and now we even see that Justin is driving away from them.
Yes. 5 laps to go.
Oh man, 5 laps to go. And you're driving away from Bullock. Look at that. Justin's got to be so happy. Can he still lose this? I don't think so. I think he's way safe.
Yeah, I have to say I agree with that. But we are seeing, Sean Jensick trying to close up the gap to David Medina for P3. For a little bit further back, we have Nathan Moore who's running in P5, and then Chris Morrill has kind of lost his draft partner in Brandon Shelton, and he's kind of running all out on his own in P6. Behind them, Sean Cheeseman and Clayton Ham running close together for P7, P8. 3 laps to go.
3 laps to go. All right, and then the real fight, at least the most exciting fight, is up here with Sean Cheeseman and Clayton Ham, because Justin Gann is just having it right here.
Yeah.
He's letting Kevin Bullock coming by.
Yeah. Yeah, that battle for P7 is going to be close between Sean Cheeseman and Clayton Ham. But back up front, Justin Gann just turned a 32.3 second lap, so no issues at all for Justin Gann riding up front.
Nah, this is amazing. I think you just need to think this is like your first lap. Keep doing the same thing, and he does that.
This will be the white flag lap as Justin comes around. Last lap.
Look at that. Well, let's drive along with Justin over here. Awesome to see how he does this. Easy victory for him, and it was one yellow that we have, and there we see again coming over the line. No troubles for him. Kevin Bullock straight after him. David Medina, and let's go to that number 7 position. We see Sean Cheeseman with Clayton Ham, but I don't think Clayton is gonna make that. No, we see also they're just right over there. Wow, this was in the first race, opening of the season. A lot of tactics going on, Peter.
Yeah, what a strategic race. And then, of course, just the pure fortune or misfortune, depending on how you think about it, of that one full course yellow. I was pretty impressed with the race that both David Medina and Sean Jensic ran. In fact, you know, they could have won the race if that yellow hadn't happened, because I think they were on a 3-stop strategy instead of 4-stop. And boy, yeah, you have to be impressed with the drive that Justin Gann had to win this race. He was just really dominant in that final stint.
Yeah, we can definitely say now for sure that Ford is superior to the Chevy. Justin made that through. Loved his celebrations over there. And congratulations to Justin Gann with his first position. Kevin Bullock on the second. So also really good job. We can have a quick look. We see David Medina from FCOEM came on the 3rd position. Sean Jensink was on the long strategy really well. I think that yellow did hurt him, and he had to take 4th position. Nate Moore on the number 5th, and Chris Smurl on number 6th, the second car of FCOEM. I'm curious how he feels about that, because he did gain a lot of time.
We do have our race winner Justin Gann waiting in the
booth. Oh, let's bring him in.
Great. Hey, Justin. This is Peter Lee.
Hey, Peter. How you doing?
Great drive. Wow. We were just impressed with that final stint of yours. You were really looking dominant out there. Congrats.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I was doing a little fuel strategy on the first few runs, and I think I might have had the win had it stayed green. I'm not sure. It was going to be close.
Yep.
But yeah, towards that last run, I knew I could put it out there and show the speed, and that's what I did.
Well, we were guessing. We were looking at you and David Medina, Sean Jensic. It did look like you guys were trying to get through an all-green race just on 3 stops. And so if that had happened, we were wondering how you felt about being able to get to the end with probably a 50-lap stint for your final stint.
Yeah, those are all those guys. Sean, he would have been I think the biggest battle for me there. But yeah, it would have been about me, Sean, and David. So that's kind of what I was seeing. All those other guys, when they were running so hard towards the start of the race, I knew if it stayed green, they were going to be out of contention. So, I was just hoping for that, but it ended up working out in my favor. So,
yeah, and that final stint, it didn't look to us like you were too concerned about, having to nurse your tires or anything. You were running just hard, fast laps pretty much that whole time. So you were feeling pretty confident about that. Can you tell us a little bit about what was going through your head in that last stint?
Yeah, so towards the start of it, I definitely ran hard. I had to keep my position off Nathan because I knew he'd be hard to pass, so I didn't want that to hold me up none or burn up my tires anymore. So I ran a little bit harder. Once I seen he started falling off, I could take it a little easier and still take care of the tires because Kevin he was running about the same lap times as me, and he had to get past Nathan. So if he didn't have to fight him, I think it would have been a little bit of a closer battle between me and Kevin there.
Right.
So,
While we're talking
Justin,
about Kevin, oh, go ahead.
sorry, Justin. I was just wondering, when did you know you were going to take the victory? On which lap was that?
Once I got about a second on him, I seen I was running about 2/10 faster than most of the other cars on the track. At that point, I pretty much knew I could take it a little easier, and if they did catch me, I'd have that little bit of extra tire to battle them out.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so how? What's your heart rate then on those last laps? Is that just easy, or are you? Is the heart rate really high?
Oh no, I'm just cruising. I was cruising probably about the last 20-25 laps.
Oh wow.
So
Hey,
yeah.
Pim, we were right because we were saying, Justin, that you looked very serene up there.
Yeah, yeah. Once you start hitting the lap traffic, it does get a little dicey sometimes because depending on how you hit them on the exit or the entrance, second place or whoever's behind you can gain quite a bit of time. Which Kevin did. He gained about 2/10 on me one lap, and then the next lap I gained that 2/10 right back. So, I pretty much knew I had it in the bag as long as I didn't hit the wall or get wrecked out.
Yeah.
Hey, Justin, if you can hang on here. We do have the rest of the podium. We have Kevin Bullock and David Medina in the waiting room. Why don't we invite them in?
Yeah, sounds good.
Great. Hey guys, Kevin, David, we've got Justin here. Congrats on your finishing on the podium in P2 and P3.
I appreciate it, man. A heck
So-
of a race.
Yeah, this was an amazing race. Kevin, how do you feel? You were on the position number one. You were second, constantly in that big group. Sometimes we were a little bit worried in your pit stop strategy that you would lose the time. But how do you feel of this second position?
I feel pretty good about it. Coming off of last season, started out pretty strong this season, so that's a good thing. It's if you can run with Justin and Chris and David and Nate, I think you're doing pretty good in this league. So, but all in all, I knew my pit strategy was going to be off, especially there towards the end. And if we didn't get a caution, Justin and them was just gonna. I knew I was going to be short. So.
Well,
So I'm
Kevin,
happy.
we were watching the pit strategies so closely because, there were some of you guys that were clearly going for a kind of all green race on 3 stops and just really nursing things along. And it seemed like that full course yellow just came at the perfect time for some of you guys.
It did. It definitely did. I know Justin and them, me and Chris and all them didn't want to see that, but thankfully, Nathan and I was happy for it. So,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it is hard to catch Justin. There at the end, I think the closest I've got was like just a little less than a second, but I couldn't catch him. I didn't have nothing for him.
Yeah.
Now
Well,
so we also have David Medina up here on that third position. For a long time you weren't there, and you had to struggle to get back. How was for you the race?
Oh, the race was pretty good. Just really riding around with my teammates and biding time, playing out our strategy, and just taking care of our tires. The car was good on long runs, so just trying to work with Justin there and work our way to the front.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looked like you and Justin were possibly trying to get by with just 3 stops. Was that your assumption? Were you hoping for just all green there?
Yeah, that was the plan. Would have played out pretty good. Would have been awfully close. I think Justin was able to go 1 lap harder than I was before I had to pit, but it would have been close. Had that late caution, didn't play out the way we would have liked it to, but still brought it home in the third place there. So I can't complain about that. I like this track. Been pretty good to me, so I enjoy racing here with the other guys.
Yeah, David, we were looking at you at the last laps, and at one point we did notice that Sean Jensik, who didn't pit, had some difficulties to get up. When was for you the moment, because I think Nate Mower was also in front of you, when was for you the moment where you said, okay, now I need to push, not wait for my teammates anymore, but just go for that third spot?
Yeah, when I saw Justin Gann starting to kind of gap us there, I knew it was time to go. And it took me a little bit longer to get around Sean and Nathan than I would have really liked. But yeah, when he was starting to really pull away from us, it was time to go then.
You know, you guys, Pim and I during the broadcast, we were having a little bet with each other on whether you'd go, an entire race without any full course yellows. I lost the bet, but how were you guys feeling if we hadn't had that yellow? How are you guys feeling about the race there?
Well, I was feeling pretty good about it. I think our teammates, Chris and Sean and Brandon ended up getting on a little bit different strategies there due to some situations and stuff. But running with Justin, sticking to that plan, I think it would have unfolded pretty well for us if we could have went with full green.
Yep.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was thinking I'd have finished about top 5 if it would have went full green.
Yep. Well, for sure, it was a really strategic race, and I know Pim and I both just love watching it, and we were darn impressed. I did some reconnaissance laps yesterday, and I really felt like this was a track that could just eat up tires like crazy, and so it was pretty amazing to see how consistent you guys were, even after 45, 48 laps.
Oh yeah, turn 3 and 4 definitely would, it would kill the tires. I know I felt like I was getting beat in 3 and 4, but 1 and 2 is like I could gain on them, but I couldn't figure 3 and 4 out. But I don't know, it's a good day.
Now, it's a great result. I want to thank you all for inviting us in this league. It's really nice to see. We still have a lot to learn, so it's nice to hear you guys talk about this race, because for me personally, that's a really learning experience. We're still guessing around, but it was an awesome race to watch. Want to congratulate you with the podium. Do you guys have any shout outs that you want to do?
Yeah, I want to thank my my fucking teammates, Chris and Sean and Brandon. This is our first season together, running under the same scheme there. And I want to thank Ayers iRacing Paints for the scheme there, and Justin Gann as well for always valuable input that he gives to our team, and you guys up in the booth. Glad to have you guys on board this season, and hopefully get to talk to you guys a lot more.
Yeah, thanks, David. So, Justin, any last shout outs for you?
Yeah, I got to thank the sponsor, Ayers iRacing Paints. Definitely, again, thank all my teammates. Everybody definitely works together and gets us through these races in the best strategy possible. So, good finish for the team. I got to thank Dennis and Josh for putting on the league, and thank you guys for joining us this season for the broadcast.
Yeah, great. Yeah, no, we're enjoying it. I'm looking forward to this whole season and how it runs out. We're gonna have a special lookout for you, Justin, just to make sure that we see how well you do. Kevin, for you, any last shout outs?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank y'all for broadcasting, and the Puckett boys for putting on BRL League, and I'd like to thank all the guys that race with this week, and I also like to thank my sponsors, South 62, my buddy Jeff Lewis and his band, 8 Up Nation, and Grub Guys. And yep.
Wow, that's an amazing list over there. Curious if they're all watching, but they should definitely come for the second race. I want to thank you guys all for coming to the booth. I think that's one shout out for you all coming up here, and would love to invite more people coming here to give us a little bit more of backside information about this racing. I'm happy and excited to get into the booth up here for the Bonfire Race League. Peter, do you have any last words for this race?
Well, I just can't say enough about the quality of the racing you guys did. I mean, what a show you guys put on, and so much close-in racing and so strategic. Only one full course yellow, and it was just the quality of the show you guys put on was just great. So kudos to all of you.
Yeah, I want to.
Glad
All
you
right.
enjoyed it.
It was awesome to see. I also want to thank all our people for watching. We're all waking up early in the morning with our cup of coffee to have a great look at this awesome show. And I invite everybody to join us next week again for our second race. Thank you all for watching. All right, that was it. Yeah, if you guys have any feedback, we're always welcome to hear that, because we do want to improve it, so let us know. All right. Yeah, no, it's great to see. I love the how you guys work together as trains and stuff like that. But it is something for me, and I think for Peter as well, to learn like how that exactly works. If you guys have more info, or you want to say like, oh, you need to do this, or this is the strategy, would love to see that, or maybe join you guys once in a practice to really understand a little bit more on how things are going. All right. Awesome. Hey guys, thanks very much.